So where we left off was when you play the game, looks great, and then game over. Oh good, score's 10. We don't have the high score yet, we'll get there. When I click new, my position resets. All of the pucks go away, but I can't play. I can't move my character. Their game over is still here. So several things we need to do. One is we need to instantiate a new puck at a random location. We need to turn this off. And we should probably have this guy instantiate somewhere new as well. So I'm going to do this inside my player script where I left off. So inside player, I'm going to open up my... Oh, that was playing around with code routines. You don't need to know that. You could look it up. It's pretty cool. Inside our player controller script here. Yes. Always click yes on that. We have, when we collide with a puck, game over text set active true, that turns it on. Timescale 0, that's what freezes time basically. And we made this new method, new function, that when we click it, it finds all of the pucks. For each of the things found in that array of all pucks, it destroys them. And then it sets my position, transform.position, because I'm on the player here, the script is on the player, to 0, 0. Now, what should also happen is what? Well, we need to instantiate a new puck, which is... Well, we could instantiate block it. We could just borrow this code right here, copy that, paste it down here. We also need to instantiate a puck, which is this. So I can take this out and say puck, because we've already assigned puck. And they're both going to be at random range between the negative x to the x and the negative y to the y. And this just takes on the rotation as its prefab. And I just added the game over text.setActive false, which remember when we ran into the puck, we just set that to true. So I just copy it, paste it here. Also timescale should go back to 1. So I'm going to paste that. Change that to a 1. Let's save that, go back to Unity, let it finish compiling, which is why it always kind of freezes for a second. It's processing that code. So now when I play, that's great. And game over, we're going to hit new. Hey, look at that. We should probably get rid of the previous blocky, because now there's always 2. So that's kind of an issue. Interesting, but an issue. Also, you keep adding points, so we have several problems. I started out at like 50 points. Hey, look at that, it never goes to 0. So we need to also destroy all of the blockies when we start a new game and then instantiate. That kind of matters. And this is kind of cheating. And we need to get that score to 0. So, let's stop playing that. So for the extra blocky, we could kind of cheat and basically, remember this code just destroys everything that's tagged as puck. We actually could just, I'm going to comment this because it gets really confusing with all this text. Destroy all pucks. And then this will be destroy all blockies, which I know there's only one, but in the future, if we decide to have multiple blockies, then this will work. And we'll call this tagged with blocky. It doesn't really matter what this is. It's just, oh, we can't have the array call that all blockies in all blockies. And make sure that our prefab of blocky is in fact, if I open prefab, there he is tagged as such. So let's test that out real quick. Playing, very good. Hit new. Hey, look at that, it destroyed the blocky and reinstantiated. Very good. Good. So now we still have the problem of we start the game with whatever we left off the previous one, which is not cool. So where is the value of our score being held? Well, this game object called scoreText is actually, if you recall, has a component, a script, called scorekeeper. And inside of scorekeeper, if I open that up, there's the text mesh pro. There's the int of the score value. So this is actually what holds the number of our points. And really, this update score should not include a plus equals 5. It should just set the text. This should be called like update score text. But so I'm actually going to comment that out so that when it updates the text, it doesn't automatically add 5. You'll see why here in a second. But back in our player, I control S there. Back in our player control script, you'll remember we have a public game object called scoreText. And that is where we took, on our player here, we just dropped scoreText right into here so we could reference this game object and any scripts and any variables in that script, such as the what? The score value. So we already have a reference to that object. That object has some things we need, like the value of the score, right? Because we want to reset the score to 0. So where do we reference the scoreText? There we go, right here. Remember when we collide with Blocky, we said, okay, on this game object, go ahead and get the component called scorekeeper, and inside of that, run this function. Well, I'm going to copy this because we're going to do something very similar here. When we make a new game, set score to 0. I'm going to paste this, but instead of running the function update score, we just want to change the score value. So I'm just going to take this last part out and say score value equals 0. Close with the semicolon. So it's saying on this game object, in this script, the script is a component, so it gets component, that script. We have empty parentheses here because we're not passing anything directly to the script. We're saying dot, the variable equals 0. So all of this runs whenever new game runs, right? All of this will run inside of this function. And that will happen when we click on the new button that we set up last time. So remember, button, right? On click, run, new game. That's where that comes from. So let's hit play. Oop, don't hit him yet. Uh-oh, we have a problem. Every time we hit Blocky, our score gets set to 0. That's not cool. Game over. New. Well, it gets set to 0 there too, but okay, we got a problem. I found what's happening. In our player controller script, when we, on trigger enter, when we hit something tagged as Blocky, it runs update score. And currently, update score simply sets the text to whatever score value is. Well, it starts out at 0, right? So we need to not just update score, which means set the text. We also need to say set the value of the score. So this thing we did down here, right before we update the text, I'm going to say score value plus equals 5. And what that means is take whatever the value is and add 5. Save that. Now let's go run this. Yeah, we weren't getting any points because we never told it to add points because I commented that out. Okay, so there's 5, 10, 15, and game over. I can't move. New. Hey, it didn't reset to 0. We still got a problem. Did you find the problem? I think I did. I haven't tried this, so we'll see. But we do run. I'm gonna show you what the problem is before I fix it. Score, and then I'm just going to show you the score. So in the debug log, when I hit new game, it's going to show the score down there. So, oops, I need to stop this and replay. Let's unmaximize on play so I can see my console. There it is. Okay, so I'm running around, I'm playing, and now I'm going to get hit. Boom. When I hit new, the score value is 0, but here it shows me 10. Oh. And when I hit a new blocky, it went to 5. Which means the value was at 0. It did add 5, but why did it still say 10? Because I never updated the text. I only updated the integer of the score. So right after we set the score to 0, the computer knows the score is 0, but the player doesn't, because we never showed it on the screen correctly. So remember, this is the function that updates the text on the screen. So whenever we change the score, we should probably also update the text on the screen like that. That's it. So I'll leave the debug in there just so you can see it, but now play that. Nothing going on here. Okay, good. And game over. Can't move. Says 10. Hit new. Shows 0. Is 0. It's a new game. All right. Well, we have a workable game. We don't have a high score yet, but we do have a workable game that does keep score correctly. So that's cool. That's all for this one.